Hello, Grade 12s, and welcome. If you're looking to smash the data handling section in your Mathematical Literacy Paper 1, you have come to the right place. Today, we're laying down the most important foundation, classifying and organizing data. Seriously, if you get this right, you're already banking some easy marks. So let's get cracking.
Just take a look at this screen. Imagine these are the heights of a bunch of learners that someone surveyed. Right now, it's just a total jumble of numbers. It's confusing, and honestly, you can't really get any useful info from it. This, my friends, is what we call raw data. So that really is the big question, isn't it? What does this raw data actually tell us? Can you quickly tell me the most common height just by looking at that mess? Yeah, probably not. In this raw, messy format, the data tells us next to nothing. To unlock the story that's hidden inside these numbers, we first have to bring some order to the chaos.
So here's our game plan for today. First up, we're going to learn to identify our different data types. Then, we'll grab the right tools for organizing it all. After that, we'll tackle a real CAPS exam question together, step by step. Then, it's going to be your turn to practice, and we'll finish everything off with a quick summary and some absolute killer exam tips. By the end of this, you will be so ready. Okay, first things first. Before you can even think about organizing anything, you have to know what you're working with. Seriously, understanding the type of data you've got is the essential first step for every single data handling question. If you get this right, everything that comes after becomes so much easier. Right, so data basically comes in two main flavors. On one hand, you've got categorical data. This is data described by words or labels, things like your favorite sport or your eye color. On the other hand, you have numerical data, which, you guessed it, is all about numbers you can count or measure. So the very first question you must ask yourself is, am I dealing with words or am I dealing with numbers?
Now, let's zoom in a bit on that numerical data, because it also has two different types. First, there's discrete data. This is for stuff you can count using whole numbers. For example, you can have 2 siblings or 3 siblings, but you can't have 2.5 siblings, right? Then there's continuous data. This is for things you measure, where decimals and fractions make perfect sense. Your weight isn't just 70 or 71 kilograms, it could easily be 70.4 kilograms. Temperature, time, height, all of those are continuous.
Okay, so now that we can actually identify our data, we need the right tools to organize it. We're going to take that chaotic list from the start of the explainer and bring it under control using the most powerful, most useful tool for this job, the table.
Our main weapons of choice here are tally and frequency tables. Just think of tallies as a super quick way to keep score while you're working through that messy raw data. And the frequency, that's simply the final count for each category. Simple. Put them together and they create a perfect, neat summary.
And building one is really easy. Step 1, set up your columns. Step 2, list your categories or your class intervals. Now, a huge tip here, make absolutely sure your intervals don't overlap. We'll look at that in a sec. Step 3, go through your data, one by one, making a tally for each item. Step 4, count up your tallies to find the frequency. And Step 5, and listen up, this is for easy marks in the exam, always add a total row at the bottom. It's the best way to double-check you haven't missed anything.
Now let's focus on this slide for a moment, because it shows the single most common mistake that learners make every single year. Look at these class intervals. The first one ends at 1.60, and the very next one starts at 1.60. So my question to you is, if a learner is exactly 1.60 meters tall, where do you put them? In the first row? The second? It's confusing, and that makes the whole table invalid. Your intervals have to be clearly separated, like 1.50 to 1.59, and then the next one starting at 1.60 to 1.69.
Right, theory's over. Let's put this into practice with a question pulled straight from a past exam paper. This is exactly the kind of thing you can expect to see in paper 1. Okay, here's the scenario. We have a list of 20 athletes and their clubs. First question for you. What type of data is this? Well, it's words, isn't it? So it's categorical. Our job now is to take this jumbled up list and put it into a neat, organized table.
And here is the solution. See? We list the 4 clubs in our table. Then we carefully go through the raw data, making a tally mark for each athlete's club. And notice how the tallies are grouped in 5s. This makes counting them up so much faster and more accurate. Finally, we write down the frequency. Now, the most important check comes now. Add up your frequency column. 5 plus 5 plus 4 plus 6 gives us 20. The question said there were 20 athletes, so we know our table's 100% correct. That is a guaranteed way to check your answer in an exam.
Okay, you've seen how it's done. Now it's your turn. Let's see if you can apply these skills yourself.
So I want you to pause this explainer in a moment and actually work through the next 4 questions in your book. Give it your best shot, and then we'll review the answers together. You ready?
Here are your questions. The first 2 are all about classifying data. The third one asks you to organize some data into a table, and the last one wants you to spot an error. Okay, go ahead and hit pause now.
And we're back. Let's see how you did. For number 1, the answer is discrete. Why? Well, because you count children in whole numbers. You can't have half a child walking to school. For number 2, hair color is categorical. The answers are words like black or brown, not numbers you can measure. Easy peasy.
For question 3, here is the perfect solution. The best way to do this is to go through the list and physically cross off each mark as you tally it. You should have found 4 marks in the 10 to 19 interval and 3 marks in the 20 to 29 interval. And now the big question. Did you remember the total row? Your total should add up to 7, which matches the 7 marks in the original list. Getting that total right confirms your work and locks in those marks.
And for our last question, the tricky one, the error here is that the class intervals have different sizes. The first interval, from 0 to 20, actually covers 21 values, if you count them up. But the second one, 21 to 30, only covers 10 values. This is a common trick question in exams. For a table to be valid and fair, all the class intervals must be the same size. Well done if you spotted that one.
All right, let's wrap this all up and get you fully prepared for your exam. Think of this as your final power-up for paper 1, the most important tips to remember when you're sitting in that exam hall.
You have to pay close attention to the command words in the question. If it says classify, you just need to name the data type. If it says organize, you need to build that table from scratch. Complete means you'll be given a table that already has gaps in it for you to fill in. And identify is basically asking you to find a mistake or a specific value. Knowing these words is the key to giving the examiner exactly what they're looking for.
So let's lock in these 4 golden rules for the exam. 1. Always classify your data first. 2. Use tally and frequency tables to create order out of chaos. 3. Double-check your class intervals for those 2 common mistakes, overlapping and having unequal sizes. And 4. Always, I'm going to say it again, always total your frequency column to check your work.
And that's it. Just remember, we organize data for a reason. It turns a meaningless mess of numbers and words into clear information that we can actually use to make smart, accurate decisions. If you can master this one skill, you are building a fantastic foundation for success in the whole of Paper 1. Well done today, and good luck with your studies. You've got this.